He is remembered for watching an apple fall and uncovering the idea of gravity. He revealed the laws of motion, explored the mysteries of light, and changed mathematics forever. Yet very few people know that he also shaped British politics, transformed the currency system, and even hunted down criminals involved in counterfeiting. This is the lesser-known side of Sir Isaac Newton, a man whose life was filled not only with brilliance, but with loneliness, conflict, and astonishing twists. Newton was born in 1642 at Woolsthorpe Manor in Lincolnshire, England. His father had died 3 months before his birth, and he came into the world so early and so weak that no one believed he would survive. Poverty and orphanhood surrounded him from the beginning. When Newton turned 3, his mother remarried a wealthy clergyman and left him in the care of his grandparents. That separation left a permanent mark on him, shaping his quiet nature and lifelong habit of avoiding people. Newton never married and spent most of his life in solitude. As a child, he wasn't known for academic brilliance. In fact, he was considered an average student who cared more about building mechanical toys than paying attention in class. At age 12, he was admitted to the King's School in Grantham, where he lived with a local pharmacist because home was too far away. For 5 years, he studied there until he moved on to Trinity College at Cambridge University. During his youth, Newton once wrote a private list confessing what he believed were his sins. Among them were wishing for others' deaths and even threatening to burn down the house of his mother and stepfather. These entries showed how deeply disturbed and lonely he felt in those early years. Newton's mother wanted him to abandon his studies and become a farmer. She even pulled him out of school for this purpose. But Newton hated the idea of farming, and one of his former teachers convinced his mother to let him continue his education, a decision that changed the course of human history. In 1665, when a deadly plague struck England, Cambridge University shut down. Newton returned home to Woolsthorpe. It was during this period of isolation, surrounded by apple trees, that he witnessed a falling apple and began wondering why objects always fall downward. This thought sparked the revolutionary concept of gravity. In the same period, he laid the foundations of calculus and developed the ideas that would become his 3 laws of motion, the backbone of modern physics. Newton also transformed the world's understanding of light. Working in a darkened room, he passed a beam of light through a glass prism and discovered that white light is actually made of many colors. But this discovery led to a fierce dispute with Robert Hooke, a leading member of the Royal Society. Hooke accused Newton of stealing ideas, and Newton, deeply sensitive to criticism, withdrew from society for a long time. Religious groups also attacked his theories, adding to the stress that eventually triggered a nervous breakdown. In mathematics, Newton's rivalry with Gottfried Leibniz became one of the biggest controversies in scientific history. Although both contributed to the development of calculus, Newton used his position as president of the Royal Society to influence the investigation in his favor. The committee judging the dispute was filled with his supporters, and the final decision credited Newton, a result still debated today. Despite his scientific genius, Newton was also fascinated by alchemy. He searched for the mythical Philosopher's Stone, a substance believed to turn ordinary metals into gold. Like all alchemists, he never succeeded, but he left behind thousands of pages of experiments. Later in life, Newton entered public service. He twice became a member of Parliament, though he famously spoke only one sentence in an entire year, asking someone to close a window because he was cold. In 1700, Newton became the head of the Royal Mint. Here he used science to create a secure, trustworthy currency system. He introduced new standards, redesigned coins, and personally investigated counterfeiters. Many were captured and executed because of his efforts, including the notorious William Challoner. Newton's work made British coins the most trusted in Europe. Queen Anne later awarded him knighthood, not for his scientific discoveries, but largely because of his political influence and work at the Mint. From then on, he was known as Sir Isaac Newton. Newton remained a professor at Cambridge for decades, though he rarely gave lectures, preferring to focus on research. In his final years, he lived quietly with his niece, while still overseeing meetings of the Royal Society and performing his duties at the Mint. He passed away peacefully in 1727 at the age of 84 and was buried in Westminster Abbey, later joined by Charles Darwin and Stephen Hawking. The famous apple tree from his home fell in a storm in the 1800s, but a new tree was grown from its roots and still stands today. A branch from that same tree even traveled to the International Space Station in 2010, where astronauts let it float in zero gravity, a symbolic tribute to the man who first explained how gravity works. Newton's discoveries continue to shape every field of modern science, from engineering to astronomy. His life reminds us that even in isolation and personal struggle, one person's curiosity can change the world forever.